Now you mentioned Led Zeppelin quickly there. I mean, when they came to the US, they supported you. They opened for you, didn't they? I mean, how was that hanging with those guys?
Yes, they did. Well, it was good. We knew Jimmy, and the other three guys were brand new. Nobody knew who they were. Matter of fact, the very first gig, we didn't even need them. The promoter didn't want them on the gig. The pay was $1,500, and the promoter said, "We don't need you. We're sold out already. We don't need you." But our agent was their agent, and he worked out a deal where Vanilla Fudge paid them half from our fee, and the promoter paid half.
Yep.
But when they got on that show, people were yelling, "Bring on the fudge!" And like when they were on stage, that changed quickly. They were an awesome band, but we recognized the talent that we knew they were going to be big, but we didn't know they were going to be that big.
Yep.
When John Bonham, it's hard to understand now because John Bonham and that Led Zeppelin is so big, like the Beatles, that they were totally unknown. When John Bonham came on the tour, he told me he was a fan of mine. He said he liked my style and all that, and he had that triplet on Good Times, Bad Times. And I love that. I said, "Well, I love that triplet. That's awesome, man. Where did you get that?" And he said, "I got it from you." I said, "I don't do that." And he pointed out on I think it was the third Vanilla Fudge record, where I did that just for maybe 2 bars, because in those days we just used to go in and play. We didn't plan everything like they do today.
Yeah.
We just did what we did. This is how we rehearsed it. When I went in and recorded it, I played it similar to when I rehearsed it, but it wasn't exactly the same. It was never the same. If I had to do videos back then for Vanilla Fudge songs, forget about it. I wouldn't even be able to play what I played because I don't know what I played. That's the way it was. So he pointed it out, and I said, "Oh my, I didn't even know I did that." And he just did it repetitively and came up with that triplet. And I didn't recognize it. And then we became friends. And then he loved my big drum set. And he said, "Do you think you can help me out and get a Ludwig endorsement and get a drum set like yours?" I said, "I don't know. Let me call him." So I called him, and I told him, "I think this band is going to be big." The understatement of what, 5-6 decades, And on my word, and we sent him the record. They gave him a kit just like mine, double bass drum and big toms and big bass drums and big snare drum, which he used for the rest of his career, basically. In the second tour, there were 2 bass drums. We both had the same exact kit. We had the gong, I had the gong, he had the gong. And I often wonder what the audience thought when we did alternate billing, where some nights they opened up, some nights we opened up. And the drum set would be on the stage, they take it off, and they bring the same exact drum set again out for whoever was playing next. And I often thought with the audience, so why are they doing that? They just took that drum set off. Nobody had the names on the drums or nothing. So it's pretty funny. But on that tour, he played double bass drum. At the end of that tour, Robert and Jimmy said, "You're too busy. Take away that one bass drum." He said, "We liked you better on one bass drum." When that happened, the Led Zeppelin drum kit was gone.
Phenomenal. Love hearing these stories.
A lot of good history there.
Yeah, absolutely. I've spoke to loads of drummers over the series, and I love hearing from the Drummers Union, likes of Simon Kirke and Bev Bevan, who are obviously good friends with Bonzo as well. And it's just nice to hear these kind of things that go on in the background.
Yeah. So, and was it Chris Welch? Remember Chris Welch, the writer?
Yeah.
The melody maker. He wrote a book called Thunder of Drums, and in the book it talks about when Bonzo came to America and played with us and went back, and he was all raving about hanging out with me and all that, because they weren't big yet, and him and Cozy Powell were talking and hanging out together because they from Birmingham, and when I read that, I was like, I didn't know how to react, because it came out when Zeppelin was huge. And and there I'm looking at it and seeing how Bonzo was reacting, because I'm always the type of guy when an opening act, I make friends with him. I like you guys. When I was at Ozzy, the opening act was Motley Crue. I hung out with Tommy Lee and all the guys, got to know them. They're from LA. Hung out with Tommy, and he did a bit thing where he spun the stick, grabbed the cymbal like I do. And I said, "Where'd you get that?" He said, "From John Bonham." I said, "Well, indirectly, you got it from me." He said, "No, dude, I got it from Bonzo." And so after the tour, I invited him to my house, and I showed him 2 Ed Sullivan videos that were around before Led Zeppelin, with me doing that kind of stuff, and Shotgun doing like the end of rock and roll and Shotgun, And he was like blown away. He said, "Dude, I can't believe you did this first." I said, "I told you." But but me and John Bonham, we were good friends. I mean, I loved the guy. We had fun on the road. One time, doing How Many More Times They're Doing, and Robert and Jimmy do the bow and the vocal, all that stuff. John Paul Jones and Bonzo would come off the stage. One time, Bonzo comes and says, "Hey, why don't you and Tim go up instead of me and John Paul?" I said, "Okay." So we went up, and we knew the song. When you're on tour with everybody, you tend to know the arrangements. So it was like, when we're playing. So Robert's singing, he looks over and sees me and Tim, goes over to Page and elbows him and goes, "Oi!" And he looked over and I said, "Okay." We just continued the song. And then when we went on, they all came up and jammed Shotgun with us.
Oh, fantastic.
Those are the good old days when it was fun,